Right. So, thank you all very much for coming today. And I hope I'm not too jittery because it says that my system has low system resources. Just give me 1 second. Let me start turning off some things. Okay. Yeah. So we will be. I'm Su Yan, and my colleague Mila and I will be conducting the workshop for today. And for your information, we'll be recording this to uh to upload into Panopto. Also, the copyright for the contents that we'll be using today, right, belongs to the copyright owners, so the databases, etc. So please do not reuse or reproduce the material without the permission of the copyright owners. Okay, and if you wish to download the slides to follow along with us, there are two links. So for those of us who are NUS students and staff, you can use the link on the left. And for non-NUS participants, you can download the other one, which has the public facing slides. Give me 1 second and I'll insert the slides into the links into the chat as well. Hold on 1 minute. Okay. Chat. Right. Yeah. So one link is will require authentication, and the other link is for the public facing. Okay, so just a brief introduction, right? Mila and I belong to a team uh, that tries to support innovation, enterprise, and entrepreneurship in NUS. So we curate programs such as this one and other activities, as well as a library guide to support entrepreneurship innovation efforts in NUS. So if you are, if you do need help for locating research information or industry information, uh, or IP information for your innovation, entrepreneurship, do feel free to reach out to us. Right. So what we'll be covering today is that I'll be starting off with some resources that will be useful for looking for industry information and trends, specifically focusing on tech STEM topics, as well as where to find information for companies and also consumer trends and behavior. If in case we have entrepreneurs who have like customer facing or consumer facing innovations or startups. Then Mila will take over, right, to introduce patents, how to read the patent document, and also search techniques and analysis using two databases. One is lens.org, which is an open database, and a subscribed database called PetSnap. Okay, so we'll be starting off right now with business resources. Okay, and before I go into the actual business resources, just to inform you that if you do use things like Google Scholar, Wikipedia, or sometimes when you're searching online, you can encounter paywalls for certain articles, or you're looking at certain market research, right? And you're wondering if we have access to these, you can try out some of the online tools I have linked in the slide here to see whether we have access to the full text. But the best thing to do actually is to try and access all our databases from the library portal itself. Because if you try to access it from Google or the database directly, right, the database may not recognize that you're coming from NUS. Whereas if you sign in via the library portal, they recognize you're coming from NUS and will give you the full access that our subscription allows. Yeah, and certain databases, inserting the library proxy doesn't quite work because they may have special authentication methods that the proxy cannot fulfill. So some databases like that are like we covering later on, right, will be like Fitch Connect and Gartner. Yeah, so it's always best to access databases from the library portal. Okay, so how do you do that? When you're at the library portal, click on databases and then search for the database name, not for your topic. So let's say if your topic is about medical devices, don't type in medical devices here. You won't find anything because this is for you to search for the database name. Then the list of results will show you the database name. Clicking on that will let you into the database after a login, and then you can do your actual search within the database there. Okay, so for industry reports, right, we recommend these four databases. We do have other databases as well, but we can't cover everything during this workshop. So I like to shortlist these four because they either because their content is very suitable, such as Frost and Sullivan, or the interface might be a little bit more challenging to use. They're not like your typical academic database. So I like to highlight how to effectively use them. So things like Fish Connect might require a couple more steps than a typical academic database. So for those of you who are familiar with some of our business databases, right, there are other databases that are used for industry research. We have one called Business Source Ultimate and the other one called API Inform. So I'll show you where you can locate these others, right, in the from the database page later on. So if you notice, each of these databases have their own strengths, and which is why we recommend trying a few of them out to see what kind of information they provide that is unique to them and not readily available in the other databases. Okay, so the first one that I like to show you is Frost and Sullivan. It's actually very user-friendly because it has just a simple search box at the top, and the reports are all available in one kind of format. You click on the title to access it, and usually it's either in text format or more often it's in like a PowerPoint slide format, although it's quite text heavy. They're very good at getting like latest innovations within industries. The disadvantage is that very often a lot of their reports are one-off reports. They're always looking at the new trend or new innovation coming up, and they're not likely to visit the old topics that they have already published before, unless there's something groundbreaking occurring. They do have a small selection of what they call scheduled reports. So some of these industry level reports may come out every year, but the majority of their reports are one-off. Okay, so usually the quick search is, we don't really recommend it because it will usually get you a huge amount of results, which may not always be the most relevant ones. So if you do have quite a few phrases quite a few words to search for, or you want a pretty niche search, then click on the plus button to get the advanced search option, because the advanced search option gives you more choices and allows for more refined searching. Yeah. So, however, if you want to use the quick search and you're familiar with using Boolean, right, you can put in a Boolean search that will serve the same function as the advanced search. So your and, or, not, your brackets, and your wildcards with the asterisk, for instance. The search is not case sensitive, so you can put in 3D with the D at the bottom as a lowercase rather than uppercase, or you can say, for instance, like mRNA, you can put mRNA all in lower caps. It will not change the number of results. Yeah. Okay, so your quick search, for instance, will give you like 6,000 plus results, right? Because it finds everything related to coffee and technology. So coffee or technology. So as long as the word technology shows up, right, which will be a lot of reports, they will consider it a hit. So if you do a Boolean search with the N in the middle, then you'll notice that the number of results drops considerably. Yeah, so let's try a quick search to look at what Frost and Sullivan looks like. Okay, so you can do a search. It doesn't have to be the full title of the database, but it has to be the full word. So, for instance, like we have a database called D&D Hoovers. So Hoovers has an S at the end. So if I search for Hoover, right, I won't get any results. I have to make sure the full word is there, and then the database shows up. Yeah, so similarly for Frost and Sullivan, I can just search for Frost, and Frost will show up as well. Okay, so there's the usual login screen, and then you have to make sure that you're using the content appropriately, and it is licensed only for NUS staff and students. Yeah, so it's only for our own purposes within the NUS community. Okay, then there is the login screen. Usually for one session within your browser, once you have logged in for one database and I come back later to this page to look for another database, I will not need to log in for several hours after that because the login session is still in place. The exception are for Fitch Connect and Gartner because they have to go through a specific whitelist. So a login is still necessary for those two databases, even if you have already logged into this browser. Yeah, I have to apologize. I'm in a place where the Wi-Fi is a little bit slow, I'm afraid. So it might take a while to load. Okay, hold on. Let me try and refresh the page. Okay, so let me just go back to this screen and see if there's anything else to cover. Yes. So usually the search, right, by default goes back only to 2018. So if you are interested in looking at the older reports, then you will have to include archives in your filter, click on apply, and then it will retrieve records from the older archives. Okay, and this is what your um, typical report will look like with the title at the top. And downloading and citing is very simple. You just need to download using the button here. This will copy a citation. It's usually APA style. So if you need to cite this in, say, your essay or your presentation, you can just use this to copy and then paste into your document. Then this is a direct link to the document. So let's say if you have a team and you want to share this report with your team or your supervisor, you can just click on this to copy the link. Okay. All right. So it's open. So if you do a search, let's say for mRNA, right? So let's say if I do a search for mRNA vaccine, right? Gets about 590 results. Then if I add an N, it will reduce the number of results down. Yeah, so that's how you can use Boolean. Otherwise, you can use the advanced search here. I would be very careful about using this one, not the words, because some of these reports are very wordy. They will have a lot of text. So if you say you want to eliminate results, right, that have a certain word inside, let's say, influenza, for instance. Okay, I don't want anything concerning influenza for mRNA vaccines. But if the word appears even once within that report, right, even if the report as a whole is useful, it's going to get eliminated. So when you are using this particular section in the advanced search, be very, very careful. Yeah, so this one is all the word. That means it's the AND function. Then any will be the OR function, OR. Then, of course, if you want to search an exact phrase, you can click on this and then do an exact phrase. So, for instance, like mRNA vaccine. And once you do this search, right, you notice that it will actually do the Boolean search within the basic search box for you. Yeah, so it functions exactly the same whether you type it in yourself or use the advanced search. So if you open up the report, it will pop up in a new tab and the title will show up at the top with the table of contents, etc. Then searching within the reports is also very easy. I would recommend using the Control F function within the browser. Even though they have a search option within the table of contents, this is because for certain resolutions, right, if your screen is a bit small, the table of contents sometimes takes over the whole screen, and it's very difficult to read the rest of the text. So let's say if I want to look for Asia, yeah, so it will move you to the text. And for certain resolutions, right, this search box will take up more than 2/3 of the screen. So I find that this is not optimal sometimes, and I prefer to use Control F within the browser and just do the search like that. Yeah, so it depends on your preference and also the resolution of your screen. Sometimes the table of contents works quite all right, Uh, but sometimes not. So like this situation, you can actually have a look at the table of contents, then click. So let's say I'm interested in the Johns Hopkins School. Once you have clicked, right, you have to close the table of contents and you see that you have jumped to that particular page. Yeah, and as mentioned, right, the citations, the links, and downloading options are here. So Frost & Sullivan is actually a very simple database to use. If you want to look at the older years, just go to publish year and select the older years here. Hmm? Oh wait, I have to include archive. Yeah, so it will go back further. In this situation, it's selective because I already have a search here. So it's only showing me the years where there are reports lah. You can also limit by regions or by the type of deliverable. So they have different types of reports, but I would recommend just looking at all the particular reports because the different reports may highlight companies, they may involve case studies, or they may analyze the particular innovation. Yeah, so I find that most of the reports are useful in one way or another. Uh, Also, I would also recommend not limiting it to certain industries. It doesn't happen that often nowadays, but some of the reports you will notice, right, straddle more than one industry. So sometimes if you limit it to a particular industry, you may miss out some of the reports that are these straddling ones because it's only, I think, the last 2 or 3 years where they allow for more than one industry category in the report. In the past, right, they would have to decide which industry they want to put this particular report in, even if it straddles different industries. So that this, for instance, this report healthcare, it goes under healthcare and industrial automation. In the past, right, they probably would have had to put it under one industry only. So if you limit it, say, to healthcare, and they decided to put this one under industrial in automation, you would miss out this particular report. Yeah, so I usually recommend not limiting it down to the particular industries. Yeah, so that covers Frost and Sullivan. Are there any questions that you might have? You can use the chat if you like. I'll just wait 1 or 2 minutes, a couple of seconds. If there are no questions, then we'll go back to the other databases. Okay, so the other database is called Fitch Connect, or specifically the module that we subscribe to, right? It's called BMI. So within the Fitch Connect platform, there are different modules, and our subscription covers the research module called BMI. And the Fitch is a ratings agency, so they do a lot of in-depth research on companies and industries, and they have collated all this research into this database. Now, the thing about Fitch, right, is because they want to keep track of user data while the user is in their database. But because this violates PDPA, we have to get permission from each user, right, to say yes, Fitch can collect my user data while I'm using their database. So that is why the registration is necessary. And the 24 hours is because the whitelist automatically updates every 24 hours. So it will take a maximum of 24 hours, right, for the whitelist to enter new registrations into the system and allow you access into the database using the same link that you did use for the registration. However, I found that this whitelist, the automation is not 100%. So there are a few users sometimes, they have already registered, but 1 or 2 days later when they try the link, they're still asked to register. So in that situation, email me with your name and your email ID, and I will contact the vendor to manually insert your ID into the whitelist, because sometimes the whitelist fails to collect certain names lah. And it will usually take a couple of hours to do it because there's a little bit of a time lag between us and the customer service. Yeah, so this is what you need to keep in mind for Fish Connect and Gartner. Okay, so just a quick look at the Gartner, the Fitch Connect database. Usually, I would recommend going to BMI and click on industries, because this is where you can see the coverage, right, of industries that the Fitch has. So they cover specifically these industries. They increase their coverage every couple of years lah. For instance, like healthcare was fairly recent. I think it was started up last year. Although they were already covering it partly, right, under medical devices, pharmaceuticals, etc. Um, so you can click on the particular industry that you're interested in to view the content within it. And they have subcategories within these industries. Um, Depending on the industry, some have a lot of categories, some have very few. Later, I'll show you the quite a big difference between the industries. So you can actually go down into the sub-industries to look at those subsectors, and also focus on specific countries if you're interested in just looking at a particular country to look at the analysis there. So they update daily with very short reports on what's the latest happenings in various industries, maybe companies setting up factories or signing MOUs with another company or with a government, that sort of thing. And they also have scheduled reports that have the outlook, the risk analysis, competitive landscape, etc., that are usually updated every quarter for each country. Yeah, and in between, they may have special reports if there's certain special events occurring. So you can actually click on these to look at the reports. And because Fitch does ratings, right, they have risk analysis. So they have different types of analysis, like operational risk, industry risk, country risk, and so forth. Some of it is qualitative analysis, and they also have a rating that they give. It's usually a score over 100. The higher the number, the safer or the better it is. So if it's 100 over 100, right, it's basically risk-free. So for instance, Singapore's political risk, they usually give it 100, because not likely lah, our ruling government is going to step down. Then, our, say, financial risk, for instance, is usually in the high 90s. So, the risk reports and forecasting reports and so forth, right, can be found under the reports table. Okay, so these are just to show you where you can get hold of some of the risk ratings for long, short term, political, economic, operational risk, etc. If you need to use the search button at the top, because sometimes there are certain topics that may straddle different industries, then when you type in your search, before you click on enter, go to the advanced button, right, and choose research, because Fitch's search engine, right, by default looks for company names, what they call entities, because it may be a company, it may be a country, it may be an NGO, etc. So they all lump this under entities. So sometimes if you put mRNA, they'll tell you, no results because there's no company called mRNA. Or they may give you a list of company names that start with mRNA. So if you click on research, that will enable you to look for the research reports, like the latest news articles or forecasting reports, etc., that contain the term mRNA inside. Okay, they also have certain special reports on trending topics. So if you are interested, you can have a look at their special reports as well for their key topics. Sometimes they try and do some forecasts, right, on what are the major things that are likely to be occurring in the year ahead. So if you want to get an idea of what their forecast is, you can look under the key themes. Okay, so let's have a quick look at Fitch Connect. Yeah, so even though I already signed in earlier into this browser, I will still need to do another login because of the nature of Fitch Connect. Okay, if it takes too long, right, I think I will just skip it because it's fairly user-friendly, and the slides I showed you have gone through the steps lah. Let's just give it a couple more seconds to see if it loads up. Okay, I think we'll go back. We'll come back to Fitch if there are any further questions. So let me cover some of the other databases first, and then we'll come back to have a short demo later. Okay. Right. So the other another database that might be useful is called Statista, and Statista is actually a very user-friendly database, and I find that it's very useful for getting sort of like a brief overview, right, of some of the statistical information for different industries, and sometimes certain statistics that are difficult to get anywhere else can be obtained here because Statista gathers information from a very broad range of sources. So it includes like NGO, different companies, countries, and even banks that do research. They'll collect all these statistics and insert them into this database. Sometimes when you're doing Google searches, right, you encounter Statista's free content, but we have a subscription to their premium content as well. So I recommend that you access Statista via the library portal in order to access the premium content. So we try to keep the search simple in Statista. Try to keep it to a few words or a short phrase, and then look at your list of results. And the current interface, right, has changed slightly. If you have used Statista, say sometime last year, you notice, some of where have all the filters gone on the right, on the left hand side, and so forth. So what has happened is that they've updated their interface a little bit. So your results now show up on the left, and then they will have tags, right, for the more commonly used terms related to your search on the right hand side. And if you want to find the filters that you were using in the past, right, click on more filters, and you'll be able to find the filters here. So you can filter by the type of content, the level of accuracy, by location. That means where the regions that are covered for this statistic, the different industries, and when the statistics was published. Yeah, so you can access the filters this way. One thing to note in Statista, right, they have a particular content called reports. So if you notice, right, when I search for mRNA here, right, you see that the top two results, right, look very much the same. mRNA technology, statistics report on mRNA technology. Then it says mRNA statistics and facts, and they're published on the same date. That's because they actually are the same content, but it's produced produced in a different way. So the report, right, is actually meant to be downloaded as a whole and into like a PowerPoint file or PDF file to be viewed. Whereas the statistics, right, will link to all the different stats within this report. And if you are interested in viewing the reports, each of these statistics by themselves online, then go to Statistics and Facts. If you want to use the report, you can, but there are certain drawbacks with the report layout. One is that the table of contents that will be provided, right, cannot be clicked on. It's text only. And if you want to download, I recommend downloading it as PowerPoint, because the PowerPoint slides, right, when you right click on the statistics on each slide, you can actually export the statistics into Excel to work with. You can't do that with PDF. If you want to view this online, then as I mentioned, go back to the Statistics and Facts and use that to get the links. And within the reports, when you're looking at the individual slides, you'll notice that sometimes if there are too many lines of data, they may do they call it concatenate, or they might truncate it a bit. So that means there may be certain lines of data not showing within that slide. Then in that situation, you have to click on the read more to go back to the Statista page to see the full set of data. So sometimes if there is this graph that has like 30 or 40 lines of data, right, then some of it might not show up on the slide. In this situation, right, when you click on this, what will happen is that if it's premium data, you suddenly get this paywall, and then it asks you to pay for that particular slide, for that particular statistical data. So I recommend, right, you use the proxy bookmarklet. That way, when you encounter the paywall, click on the proxy bookmarklet, log back in, and then Statista will give you the data. Yeah, so there's a couple of drawbacks with the reports. But the advantage of the reports is that the whole set of data concerning this topic, right? You download it and you can read it offline. The report is available for your reference on your own computer. But the couple of drawbacks are these. So it depends on your needs and your preferences. Okay. Yeah. So For Statista, I won't do a demo because it's actually very user friendly. So you can just try it out on your own. The other thing that you might be interested in about Statista, right, is that they have the source content. So they will for each set of stats, right, they will lead you, they have a link, right, that leads back to where the statistics was taken from. I find this useful sometimes because I may want to go back to the authority that produced these statistics to see whether they have methodology, whether they have updated reports, or whether they have additional supplementary content that I can use to learn more about the statistics. So it's always worthwhile, right, to sign in to Statista and look at the individual statistics and read the data on the right hand side to see the source and like the year of publication and so forth. Okay, so for technology and innovation, right, there are other databases that you will be useful. So Frost and Sullivan, we've looked at already. I'll be covering Gartner in a little bit. The other database that might be useful is also Business Source Ultimate, and another one that I mentioned is ABI Inform. So I mentioned earlier that I would show you. So when you're looking at the databases tab, right, we have this major and popular databases. ABI Inform is here and Business Ultimate is here. So you don't have to search for databases here. They are mainly used as academic databases because they have a very broad range of academic journals and magazines within their collection. But because they cater to business research, right, they also collect a lot of industry reports, market research reports, and they even have case studies. Unfortunately, right, for those of you who are interested in Harvard Business School case studies or Ivy Business School case studies, it's not that we don't want to buy, it's because Harvard and Ivy don't want to sell to libraries. What they want to do is sell the cases to each individual student. So when you encounter the Harvard Business School case studies within Business Source Ultimate, for instance, you'll notice that there's no full text available. You have to link back to HBS website and then purchase the case study from them. So what I recommend is that if you don't mind, you can also search for case studies within within Business Source Ultimate and ABI Inform from other sources. So there are journals that are specialized in publishing case studies, and there are also case studies available from other sources that may be useful for your for your own reference. So don't be fixated on Harvard Business School. There are other options. Yeah, so if you are interested in learning more about where to find more case studies, right, hold on one second. What am I doing? Hang on. You can actually check out you can look for the business library guide in NUS. So I have one. Oh wait, guides. Okay, so this is a bit tooting my own horn here, lah. But actually, I have a reference to this later in the later slide. But yeah, I have a tab here for case studies. And it's still a work in progress because I just started on this a couple of months ago, and I'm trying to add more content in. So you see that we under Business Source Ultimate and ABM4 as well as other databases, we do have case studies available, and there are also journals that specialize in case studies, and there are even open access case studies, and some of them can come from very prestigious universities like Yale, MIT. They have a collection of free open source case studies, right, available from places like Case Center, and the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy also has case studies for economic and policy issues as well. Yeah, so so these are some of the sources you can look for. So let's have a look at Gartner now for innovation and technology. So Gartner, right, is focused on IT, but the thing is that IT now pervades almost all industries and at all levels. So there are range, right? The range of the industries that they've been covering, the range of content they've been covering, right, has been expanding a lot over the years. So it's quite indispensable for almost all tech-related research, lah. So it's pretty useful, and for almost a lot for quite a lot of things. They don't really contain a lot of numbers. So in terms of like what is the market size for certain industries, what size market share does company A have in this industry, that sort of data. A lot of their reports, right, are qualitative in nature. They try to analyze companies, industries, and technologies in a larger context to give the decision makers, right, for technologies, right, a better idea of the trends and the implications of technology and innovations, right, may have for their industries. So the kind of reports you expect in Gartner, right, will be quite different from other kinds of reports that you may find, say, in Frost and Sullivan or in Passport. Okay, let me try doing get to see if I can get into Gartner. Okay, so for Gartner, right, you'll notice that there are actually quite a few different types of report contents. They have two that are quite what you call it famous. So one is their Magic Quadrant, which analyzes vendors or what they call vendors or companies lah. Uh, and they analyze them in terms of how complete of a service they can provide in a particular area and how innovative they are in providing that service. So there are some that are very high in both. There are some that are high in one but not the other, etc. The other one that is very famous is hype cycles, where they analyze technologies, right, individual innovations in a larger context, a larger framework, and they try to give a forecasting, right, of when that particular innovation will mature, where what they call reach a plateau, and what kind of role it plays, right, in the whole framework. So these are good for looking, for big picture kind of analysis for different innovations. Yeah, so this is what a typical hype cycle looks like. See if okay, so you can see that they have the Magic Quadrant and hype cycles here, and then you can also do a quick search here as well. So let's say if I do, in AI education, for instance, right, it will give me the different reports available. So a use case prism is quite an interesting one because they will give you all the different factors related to the particular innovation. So they have a lot of different types of reports available, technology trends, predictions that they might have. So these are the images related to each of these reports. So the use case prism looks something like this. It's usually a triangle with all the different factors, and then they will rank these factors in terms of how advanced the industry has gone in that particular area. Yeah, so the search interface is actually very simple. It's just that you need to have quite a good idea of what you're looking for, like whether you're looking at vendor information or whether you're looking for the a particular innovation in specifically. So I just like to give a very quick overview of what a hype cycle is. So the hype cycle is always the same shape. It's always this curve, and the factors at the bottom, right, it says time, but actually it's not exactly chronological time, because the innovation trigger usually means that these innovations form like a foundation for the whole framework. So in this situation, it's generative AI, right? So these are sort of like the back end or the fundamental technologies, right, that are instrumental to starting off the whole framework of generative AI. Then the peak of inflated in expectations is where innovators try to be very ambitious in trying to push that innovation. So, like synthetic, responsible AI, smart robots, etc. Like synthetic consciousness, lah, is attempted at these peaks. Then when they realize that some of these may be too ambitious, the technology has not caught up with the needs of of what they want to achieve, then some innovators, right, start to look for tweaks to try and push the innovation forward a little bit at a time. So that's where they hit what they call the trough of disillusionment. So a lot of these will be if not necessarily minor, but they will be smaller steps in pushing that technology forward. The slope of enlightenment is when innovators start to see a way, right, to monetize or commercialize this technology. So beyond just catering to early adopters and at a very small scale level, right, they're learning how to scale this up into an industry level kind of service or innovation. So things like cloud AI services, for instance. So this is when it is starting to move into the industry level. And the plateau of productivity is when it has become more or less mainstream. So very often, a lot of hype cycles may not have any innovations in this last sector, or at the most, they just have one or two. Because if this particular framework, right, has a lot of technologies at this end of the plateau, right, it is no longer an innovative framework because it is already very much mainstream. Plateau of productivity technologies, right, I like to call your grandmother also knows it, which means that even if she may not know the term for that technology, she may be holding it in her hand or she may be walking past it every day. That means the man in the street comes into contact with technologies that are already in the mainstream here. Yeah, so which is why it's quite rare to see innovations that are here in the plateau of productivity. The hype cycle is interactive graph. So when you click on the individual innovations here, the right-hand side text will change. They'll give you a definition of what this technology is. They explain why it's important for this framework, and they will give you some tips and advice and forecast information about this technology from their analysts, and even recommend certain vendors that are specializing in this particular innovation. So you can read up quite a lot about these individual innovations, right, just from this interactive graph. And then for those of you who are more interested in looking at the report in a more traditional, like text format, then you can click on the whole report, and the same content here, the same content here will be presented in more like a text format. So you still see the hype cycle picture, but it won't be interactive. And all of these innovations will be uh, um, typed out one after the other, so you can read them in succession. Yeah, so it depends on whether you're interested in this kind of innovative, interactive format, or whether you want to look at it at a more traditional format. Then each of these innovations have a different icon. It's there are forecasts of how long it will take for this technology to mature. So the time for plateau. So those that are in the light blue, quite a lot of them are, they're expected to mature within 2 to 5 years. Then the yellow triangles will be the longest. It will be more than 10 years before they expect these to reach full maturity. Very rarely, right, you will see one circle with a red bar across. That means that particular innovation is obsolete. That's not very common, but it does happen for one or two hype cycles because a particular innovation may get maybe made obsolete because it's not viable, or there is an alternative innovation, right, that has outstripped it in terms of usability and performance. So it gets abandoned. Yeah. So once in a while you might see the circle with the red streak across. Okay, so that's Gartner in a nutshell. Okay, I won't be covering the company databases because some of these take a long time to load, and the user friendliness is not very high. But later when we're looking at news, right, for Factiva, I'll also try and cover the company snapshot. So for those who are looking for detailed financial information, right, then Orbis is usually the source that we will go to, because Orbis does not do their own research, but they collect from third parties. But their value add is that they clean up the data and sort of standardize it so that all the different financial data, right, fall into a standardized format within their database. So it's easier to compare apples to apples if you're looking at a whole list of different company financial data. They cover both listed and private companies, but their listing of private companies is not comprehensive because they purchase from third parties and their criteria may change from country to country. So for instance, for Singapore, the SME data that they purchase from the registry of companies in Singapore, right, is usually the top 3,000 by revenue every year. So if you're looking at, really small startups, small companies, right, that have very little in terms of revenue, then they might not show up in Orbis. Yeah, so that's a disadvantage. And also Orbis is not very user friendly, but it's very good for generating large lists of companies. So I say if you want to do a survey, I've helped students who needed to do surveys of companies, let's say 70 or 80 or 100 companies, right, in Singapore. They want to send out survey forms. So you can actually create a list in Orbis of Singapore companies in this industry, and then you create an Excel table that you can download with contact information that then you can use that to send out. However, the disadvantage is that I find they have mailing addresses, it's usually quite consistent, but for some reason, email addresses are not very common in Orbis. So very often the email address column, right, is missing for quite a few companies. I'm not sure why that is lah. So that's Orbis. D&B Hoovers belongs to another ratings agency called Dun& and Bradstreet, and they cover a lot of companies. Because they are a ratings agency, they do a lot of their own research. So their coverage of private companies tends to be a little bit better than Orbis. The disadvantage is that usually financial data is not that they usually only have the current year, and they usually only grab from third parties like SEC filings, or they may get annual reports if they are available. So getting financial information from D&B is not always easy, but they try to put in like a lot of qualitative rankings, ratings, and analysis. And they may also cover certain industry level reports from certain sources like Morningstar and Euromonitor. They also try to have analyst reports for different companies, but I find that the currency of those reports vary a lot depending on the company and the country. So it's not comprehensive coverage. But their coverage of smaller companies usually is pretty good. Factiva, right, is good if you're just trying to find, especially if it's listed companies, you just want to get a quick understanding of what this particular company does. So it's like, oh, I want to look at what Procter and Gamble is like, what is their company size, who are the senior management, what's their performance lately, that sort of thing. Then Factiva's the good option to go to because it's user friendly and it's quite fast to grab that kind of info from Factiva. This one I'm just reporting because it's our own little database, in-house one. Annual reports, we download it from Singapore Exchange and Bursa Malaysia. We have agreements with the two stock exchanges, right, to download the annual reports from their websites, right, and archive them within our catalog. So sometimes when you're searching for things in the catalog, you might encounter, how come this report is authored by this and this company? It's because that's how we arrange the company's annual reports there. We use the company name as the author and archive them inside. So this is more to as an archive for Singapore Malaysia content, which is what our library specializes in. Okay, so D&B, right, is an interesting database. They try to do industry as well as company level research. And so they collate from like news sources, analyst reports, industry reports, etc., as well as their own research on individual companies. Yeah, so you can actually try looking for companies here, and especially if you want to get understanding, right, of how certain brands are related to certain companies, or you want to see, which company this brand belongs to. Maybe you want to get in touch with them and find out who the ultimate owner for the company for that brand is. Then the corporate family tree within D&B, right, is useful for that. Then so the desktop looks like this, and they have individual workspaces. Unfortunately, right, pinning your items here, once you come out and you log back in, all the pinned items will disappear. This is because, right, due to our subscription, it's what they call a rolling ID. So they assign ID randomly to each user who signs in to the database, which means that every time you log out, they'll clean the whole desktop and prepare it for the next user. Unlike their corporate clients who may have like their own account within the D&B Hoovers. That way they can pin and use that as their own workspace lah. But for academic accounts, they don't provide that service. So you can choose either way of searching. They have search boxes on either side of the screen. And then if you search for a company, they will give you a recommended list. Usually it's by the revenue size, the sales size lah. And usually I look for the one with the largest sales because that's very likely the parent company. Then if I click on that, I will be able to see the company name. Or if I just press on the magnifying glass, then it will show me the list of companies that suit that criteria that I've typed in. Yeah, so I can either view the record here or I can view this one here to see the parent company. Yeah, so the pin items will get removed. If you need to download more than one company at a time, right, you'll notice that you get sent to this wallet, this credit, and we have a limited number of credits, and they will charge by the number of companies you download. So if you do need to download a lot of companies, right, try to use Orbis if possible, because Orbis doesn't charge us. But if you really need to, then try to download the minimum necessary lah. Try not to download like a few thousand companies from DMB, because if you use all the credits, right, we may not be able to get more from DMB, right, for other people in US to download. Yeah. So sometimes once you have logged out from DMB, right, a few hours later or a couple of days later, you try and log in and you get a message saying, oh, the database is under maintenance, or you just get a gray screen. Don't trust it. It's not under maintenance. It's because of the cookies. Their cookies tend to expire very quickly, I think. So you get an error message when you try to log in using the same browser uh, uh, within a short period of time. So what we recommend you using, right, you doing is try to refresh your page, or clear your cache and then try again. Or I usually am too lazy to do that. I just skip to another browser. So I usually have three browsers that I use: Chrome, Firefox, and Edge. So use switch to another browser and then log in again to DMB to see whether you can get in. So that's one quirk that the database has lah. Okay, so for consumer behavior, right, there are reports within Business Ultimate relating to consumer behavior and trends, and also some market research reports, which may be very up to date lah. Some are a little bit out of date, but there are a few industries that are quite well covered. But usually, if it's consumer behavior, and for a lot of consumer goods, what they call fast-moving consumer goods, we recommend using Passport, which is run by a market research agency called Euromonitor. Okay, so Passport, right, recently had the interface change, I think, in December. So if you have used it in the past, say last year or the year before, right, it might log in again and see it's changed a lot. So, but the general coverage is still there. So they still have the industries, they have different channels, consumers and economies. The products is grayed up because right now the only product they have is sustainability, and we don't have a subscription to that. So it's sustainability related issues lah concerning consumer goods. So Passport provides, right, qualitative reports and also statistical information, and they also do surveys for consumers. Unfortunately, they don't do very many surveys in the Asia Pac region, especially Singapore. They usually approach larger and more advanced countries. So they may have reports, surveys done in US, UK, Germany, etc., possibly Australia, but not Singapore because we're very small. Then but they will still do a lot of analysis, and there will be consumer lifestyle analysis, consumer value analysis, consumer type analysis for Singapore. So if you're interested in like understanding the consumer, the end user, right, in Singapore, then or in other countries, then Passport is a very good resource for looking at that kind of research. Okay, so the text search is not always comprehensive, but you can give it a try first, because it breaks down the results very nicely into statistics on the left, analysis in the middle. Then they have more general dashboards that are available on the right hand side. But I find the dashboard sometimes a little bit troublesome, because the dashboards require a Tableau plugin. So sometimes they don't load properly on certain browsers. But you can still get the data that's available here, right, in the actual analysis reports lah, as well as the statistics. Because usually statistical information, they will have up to a 5-year forecast for a lot of their statistical data. Okay, and the preferred way of locating reports for Passport, right, is by going through their drop-down menus. So for instance, if I'm looking for coffee, I will click on industries, which will open up this first level of industries for me. And then I click on drinks, which will open up the second level of industries, subsectors lah. So alcoholic drinks, hot drinks, and soft drinks. Then I'll click on hot drinks to bring me to this screen. And then when I click on, you have to click on the individual drop-down menus in this order, top to bottom. So analysis, right, will give you things like country briefings, special reports, company briefings. But I usually select all to see what the full range of content available for that particular subsector. Then you can select your category, which is coffee in this situation. Then finally select your geography, the country that you want to get research from, and then click on go to get the list of results. So a typical report, industry level report, right, country report, will look like this. On the left hand side, you will have the analysis. So they'll give you some key findings, the competitive landscape, and some forecasting about how what trends they think are going to take off in the coming year, and they try to analyze why things the way they are lah. Why has sales gone down or gone up? What kind of consumer values are in play with the due to that contribute to the sales, etc. Then on the right hand side, they will have different statistics that are actually interactive in nature, so you can mouse over each of these bars to find the actual data, so to see what the actual figure is, and you can download it as a picture, or you can go to the related statistics using one of these icons, or download this as a graph or table. Then below in the report, you'll also be able to find like the market size and company shares and brand shares. Let me see if I can open up Passport. Okay, so oh wait, hang on. I forgot to click on the link. Okay, while we're waiting for it to load, let's move on. Yeah, so you can export these into different formats. Oh, okay. The tabs at the top, the data graphics are actually expansion of these graphs and tables. So there'll be different kind of graphs available for the industry. Context, right, will give you some additional information about the country. So like the country size, as well as the context for the industry itself. So they may show you what the coffee market is like in other regions and globally, so you can see how it matches up, and also some socioeconomic information about the country, usually at the bottom. Then you can download the report from this tab, and you can see other related reports. So they may see the hot drinks report or alcoholic drinks report here. I usually recommend, right, looking at the higher level report, because they may have additional information points, right, or analysis relating to the subsector at the higher level report that they might not mention within the more detail, the subsector report. Okay, so for those of you who are interns, right, or working, please note that they have a license agreement here. You cannot use this for the benefit of your employer or other organizations. It's only for your own research. Okay, so you have to be very judicious and careful in your use of information from these business databases lah. Okay, so the other thing, as I mentioned, right, that Passport is very strong in is consumer analysis. So so this one is to get whole statistics lah. So you can look for the industry and expand it down, and then select your region. You can select by groups or regions, so like Asia Pacific, ASEAN maybe, or APAC for instance, and then the countries will be automatically selected for you for that particular region. Then when you do your search, you'll be able to get the different statistics available, and then get hold of the statistics here. Then you will be able to modify this data so according to your need. So for instance, right, this data may look very skewed because all the data is the overall retail value. But then that, smaller countries will have smaller values, larger countries will have larger values. So that doesn't give you a very balanced view lah. So if you want to, what you can do is to convert the data to say per capita or per household retail expenditure. So that will give you a better idea of the per capita consumption. So which country consumes more by person. Okay, and then you can do your downloading or sharing or printing out data on the right hand side here. Then the data source is important as well, because in case you need to cite or mention where the source is from, then you need to know where the different sources are. Like. Usually, it's a combination of Euromonitor's own research as well as source from other third parties. Yeah, so this way you can do your conversion of data. You can change the currency and also whether you want to change it to household or per capita. Yeah, so this is the country reports. This one is business dynamics. So this one is probably quite useful, right, for entrepreneurs because they will give you all the different factors related to doing business within a particular country. So maybe I can show you from here. So under economies, they have business dynamics here. So they also have city level data. They have some commodities data and also statistics and analysis on the economy and finance. But let's have a look at the business dynamics because this one is the one where they try to analyze a lot of different factors, everything from infrastructure, ad revenue, ad spend to educational levels and so forth. So let's say if we do a country report, right? Let's choose the business dynamic country report for Singapore. Okay, for depending on your Wi-Fi connection and your browser and the computer, passport sometimes can load very slowly because they usually have a lot of interactive elements on each page. So it sometimes can take a while for it to load. Yeah. So this is the business dynamics report. It's usually each report is usually updated every year lah. So this one was updated in May last year. So you probably can expect an update in May or June this coming year. So you see that they try to analyze financing, skill and labor, trade infrastructure, the innovation, digitalization, operational and regulatory environment. So they give you a lot of stats and rankings, right, in terms of all the different levels, everything from like judicial effectiveness, tax burden, labor freedom, etc. Yeah, so these are a lot of the rankings that they get from third parties lah, a lot of NGOs, like corruption rankings, poverty rankings, etc. But they also do a lot of collect a lot of data from other sources to try and look at quite a lot of other factors. So like for instance, like the labor force participation, uh, so population age 15 and above that have higher education. So you get a good idea of the labor force available within this country. If let's say you want to set up a factory or manufacturing sector, manufacturing base there, then they even tell you like by programs, how many people have graduated from that particular program, employment by gender, unemployment, labor structure, economic freedom, wage per level. So you the statistics, not just statistics, but the kind of data provided is really quite detailed lah. The level of detail may vary from country to country. So for instance, if I open this report for Myanmar, right, then some of they may not have all the same kind of content because there may be certain data where it might not be possible to get for certain countries lah. So I think, for instance, like Myanmar, you may not be able to find, for instance, how many people have graduated from which subject. Yeah, and a couple other things. So this is to give you an idea of all the different factors related to doing business within that country. Okay, so yeah, so as mentioned here, and then finally, you have consumer analysis. So that's where you go to consumer and then click on lifestyles, and you'll be able to get hold of different types of reports at the country level. So it may relate to consumer values and behavior. So what are people thinking, or what kind of values do they hold that prompts them to purchase or not purchase? Then they will also group consumers into different types of personalities, and they'll give you an analysis of each of these personalities, what kind of, say, age bracket they are in, their educational level, and the kind of behaviors that they might have, that this group tends to have. So consumer types can be useful if you have consumer facing innovations, right? And you want to figure out which demographic you want to appeal to. So rather than just looking at one factor like age or gender, or income level, you may want to look at the consumer type instead, which is a more holistic view. Then consumer lifestyle reports will look at the overall kind of the consumption levels, consumption behavior patterns, and so forth. Oh, there's a chat here. Oh, okay, sorry. Right. So, so these are the consumer levels. So you can have a look at the reports and then download them in PDF. You find that some of them are in slides, right? The resolution is very low. So I would recommend viewing it full screen as PDF or to download the report in order to see the original document. Usually the resolution is very high. Then you can actually register an account with Passport so that you can save some of the reports, right, into your own little folder within your own account, and that enables you to actually link directly to some of the reports as well. So you can cite the data sets. I'll just move past this very quickly. Because you can refer to this, then so when you reach a certain report, right, you can actually link to it uh, directly, but you have to sign in and have your own account in order to get this option. Okay, so for news and current affairs, we have Factiva, Nexus Uni, and API Inform. So we're running a bit short of time lah. So I won't cover too much of this, but the screenshots should show you quite a good way of doing the search lah. And Factiva is very user friendly. The other database that's very user friendly also is Nexus Uni, but it's just that Nexus Uni is slightly smaller in their coverage of titles lah. Then for those of you who are almost already graduate already, unfortunately, all the databases that I provided earlier cannot be accessed by alumni. So these are some of links, right, to certain market research companies and other authorities, right, that have market research data, industry data, or reports, right, that may be useful to you. So quite a lot of these research analysts, right, do their own research, and they produce things like white papers and free papers and research papers on their own websites that you might be interested in. And for those of you who are in Singapore, Singaporeans or PRs, right, then check out the National Library. They have a lot of e-resources, and some of them overlap with ours. So things like the AVI Inform, and they don't have Business Source Ultimate, but they have Business Source Complete, and they also have eiu.com. So you can check these out. Then if you're looking at additional recommendations, you can check out our Innovation Enterprise Guide. We have quite a lot of sources available, both subscribed ones and open resource ones that can be accessed. So you can check the library guide out for more help. And of course, feel free to email me if you need more assistance. Yeah, so I will hand over to Milan for the patent side of the workshop. Yeah, so let me stop my share.
Okay, hi. Let me show my screen, show my face rather. Okay, I will share screen. Okay, hope everybody is following us because there is really a lot of information that we are covering, and but if you cannot follow, it's okay. What we can do is just follow the slides, and then if your own free time, you can always review them. Okay. What I'm going to cover is just a quick introduction to IP. As you can see on here, there are different types of IP. I will not go into everything, but if you can, you just click on it to view the details. Just a quick intro about what is patent. As you know, that patent is an exclusive right granted for invention, for a new product, process improvement, technical improvement to existing technology. So the inventor must give full, complete disclosure of the invention. Patents stop others from making, using, or selling the invention for a limited period of time. Depends on what patents are filed, generally 20 years. So you know that it is right that is applicable to only the countries or the region where the patent is granted. Okay, so this is just a quick run through. Like, unlike journal articles where you can see that, oh, once it's published, it's available. That's it. But actually, for patents is a process, and it may take several years before the process is complete. Like, for example, if somebody is interested to file a patent, and then the first document that comes out is a patent application generally. And then after that, it takes maybe takes months or even years before the next publication, if it's granted, the patent granted patent document will be published. So in a sense that sometimes you may not be able to find the information that you think is there, because there is a time lag between um, the publication of such materials. So it is possible that you can see that information is not found immediately. And okay, this is just for your information. And then even for the same invention, there may be multiple documents such as patent application, published granted patent documents for the same invention, or even for the different countries as well. So for the same invention can be several documents associated with it. So if you are not familiar with the structure of the patent document, this is just a quick run through. Usually there's a section in front, the cover page, where we contain the bibliographic data, such as the application number, title, abstract, classification numbers, etc. Then also the details of the this invention, which is in the technical information section. Then lastly is the claim section. This is just a quick run through where you know that for the first page you have the country code and the kind code. Depends on whether it's application or granted patent. This you might be able to see from this kind code. And then here description and the claims section. One suggested approach for some people is to look at the claims instead of looking at the title or the abstracts, because sometimes it doesn't quite explain what is this invention about. So you can look at the claims, especially claim 1, and followed by all the other independent claims, which is like the ones that can stand on its own. I'll leave it to you to actually read more details. We'll move on to a database called Lens, or lens.org. There are different types of searches, patent searches, such as state-of-the-art search, or prior art or novelty search, freedom of operate search. I'm not going to cover like individual, but what I'm going to show you is some basic techniques that you can apply when you do your searching for looking for patent information. It's basically, let's say, assume that you have a known patent document. Let's say you refer to a reference that you found on a website, or you found on a journal in a journal article, and you find that, oh, this is quite useful. You want to look at the details and you want to make use of that particular number, patent number, to find other patents that is similar or related to that kind of invention. So this is one, then followed also by a topic search. So Lens, this is details, some details about the Lens database, and it has covers over 225 million scholarly works, as well as 100 over million global patent records. So this is another good source to actually check for scholarly works as well as patent information. And they also have biological sequence patents as well. So this is the main landing page. You go to this website, Lens, www.lens.org, to access the page. So let's assume that I have, say, a patent number. So I'm going to make use of this patent number. Okay, let's go back to that page. Okay, where am I? Okay, and then we will do a search. Okay, so this is the page, the screen, and to access that, you can either start searching here, or you can go into this option here, patents. So this is the landing page. Okay, and you can specify the fields that you want to search, or if not, you just, because I'm just doing a quick number search, I will just enter it here and I do a search. So it's very As you know, patent documents can be quite a lot of information. Like here we have the front page information as well as the PDF. You can scroll down to read details. To look for other patent information, there are a few options you can make use of. For example, you can make use of the classification codes that find patents with similar technical concepts. That is one option. And then also there are also things that you can look at, such as patent citation, where let's say if you have patents, you can click on cited. These are the other patents that cited by other 31 patents. You can from there just take a look at that other patents to help you to navigate to find other patents. Okay, so this is another way. For other information that is useful, maybe you want to look at say for example this patent record. Where else does this patent filed? Their patent filing. Okay, so these are the countries. So here, and okay, I'll go back to my PowerPoint slides. Okay, so you can do a search for other patents using classification. What is patent classification? Is some code, a classification scheme to group inventions according to technical areas. So there are different types of classification, such as international patent classification, cooperative patent classification, US patent classification. IPC is the most common, but increasingly a lot of people are patent office are adopting cooperative patent classification, which ultimately will likely to replace the IPC code. So here, the classification codes are like in hierarchical order from the broadest to the more specific. So you can actually zoom in to see which level you want to search and then search accordingly. And then here, the advantage of using patent classification is that even though you may not quite understand the language to be used, you can still make use of the classification to find relevant information. Or even sometimes the patents could be in other languages, could be Korean, could be Japanese. You're not familiar with the language, but with the patent classification, you still are able to find useful information. And then, but of course, not everything has may not be available for all areas of technology. And also maybe some patent office may not adopt the similar or in-depth kind of patent classification scheme. So to be aware of that. So this is patent. Here, I also mentioned scholarly works. Okay. So this is just a quick one for the lens. If you're having a single document, if you're looking for, let's say, a topic, you might want to try, let's say, using keyword search. Okay, so these are some typical Boolean operators or search syntax that you can make use of. Standard and or phrase search, parenthesis search could and this sort of asterisk example. So let's say I'm just doing a very simple topic. Okay, so I have this thermal management of lithium-ion batteries. So I may come up with alternative terms for each concept that I have identified. Like for example, first one will be the lithium-ion batteries, then thermal management will be another one. So I may go and explore which are the possible terms that I can come up with. Then from there, if I want to, I can just do a search, or if I can also try to make it as comprehensive as possible. You know, being librarians, we will try to want to do things to be comprehensive. So this is something that we may interpret search to be something like that. First of all, we want lithium ion could be spelled in two ways, then followed by battery, then asterisk is to say take care of the singular, plural options, etc. Then the part about thermal could be heat or thermal or temperature. the management could be management, regulating, regulate, control, as cool, etc. So we can do this, okay, to sort of like I come up with a statement to try to be as comprehensive as possible to do the search. Okay, let's say assume that this is what we are looking for, and I can make use of this to go into search. Okay, before we do a search, I did a sort of sample search to show you that where you search is also very important, because let's say if you use a all fields option, you get a lot more results compared to say you want these words to appear only a specific field in the title, in the abstracts, or in the claim section. So do consider before you start searching whether you want to be, like say, these words to appear in a certain field, or you want to be as broad as possible. So, okay. So assume that this is what I want to search. I go in here. To start a new search, you can always go to the left-hand side, new structure search, or on the right-hand side, there's also a button at the top, say new patent search. You can click on it. And then I want to specify, in this case today, I want to search in the title, abstract, or claim section. And I want to do this search. Let's see whether if I'm got problem or I'm okay. Okay. I got about 12,000 over records. Maybe too many to see. You can always edit your search to add in additional terms if you're interested. Say you can add in another word if you find that it's too many for you to view. And then you can validate your search. If it's okay, you can submit. Okay, say assume I'm all right with this search, or maybe 2,000 over record is manageable. So what do I do with this set of results? Of course, you can also, on the left-hand side, use additional filters if you want to say look at certain inventor's name, or you want to filter by country. This is an option where you can do. Okay, and then on the other hand, what you can do is look at certain things that as you go along, maybe you want to also add certain records to a folder, which in Lens we call collection. And then from there, you can either, if you don't have a collection, you can create a collection, or you add to your existing collection. Because I have already logged into my account, so they have, say, for example, allows you to have your different folders that you can created previously, and then you can add to your collection here. So you can do this, and then at the end of it, analyze whatever you have searched in your collection. Okay, so, and you can also from here, maybe another option is, instead of looking at individual document, you may want to look at the whole journal article scholarly works that maybe for this set of results. You can take a look. Say here now you already move to the next another folder, another section based on your search in the patent results that you have, the 2,000 over results. This is scholarly works. These are like journal articles or anything that is mainly journal articles or any open access materials that would be relevant to you as well. You can toggle between journals and scholarly works and patents. And say, for example, you want to look at specific journals, you can also select this and then refine your search. So there's different ways to navigate this search maybe this might help you to just, okay, try and explore. Okay, I have this materials, this topic, and then from there I do some searches, and then I can toggle between scholarly works as well as patents as well to find the information that I want. Okay, so we go back to let me see whether we have, okay, some of the materials that we have could also that we may have full text, or it could be open access, could be possible that we have. Okay, so let's go back to my previous page again. Let's go and try out other things that in the patent section and not be distracted. Okay, so we can also export your results, say up to say 1000 records, and you can export it in different format. For example, if you are using a certain management software, a citation management software, you might want to export it to RIS format and then export it out to be imported into that software. And then let's see what else I to tell you. Scholarly work. Okay, so most of the time this is some basic features that you may like to do. The other way is analyzing this set of results that you have, because nowadays it is not just looking at individual patents, but you want to make use of the software features to analyze the patents results, okay, that you have. And it may be able to tell you and get an overview of the technology, identify certain scientific or technical trends, or identify major players or competitors, etc. So it could be useful for your decision making in your business or your policies or your research planning. And you can also use this besides on top of other information that you can know, like for example, what we told you about the business information, or the news, or the journal articles that you find. So some of these such patent analysis can also appear in separate reports that perhaps in like some organizations such as WIPO or your European Patent Office may produce. You can go to their website and then try out to see if they publish regular any such reports that is suitable for your research topic. And then you can also say look for journal article review articles rather that could have already somebody may have done some research on even looking at patents on a certain topic as well. You can also do this kind of patent analysis using software that such as lens.org, which using the analysis function as well. In PetSnap, they have these other uh, analysis kind of features that is available. Okay, go back to our page here. So for lens, the analysis function is here. On the right hand side, you just click on the tab. So for this set of results that we have, okay, sorry, I forgot back in the scholarly. I need to go to the tab on patents before I can click on the analysis part. So here, they will generate different charts to help you to say look at different top areas. So for example, this one be patent documents over time. You can see whether it's an increasing trend or a decreasing trend. And then they also have top applicants and so on and so forth, jurisdiction. So you can accept and make use of their default charts, or you can even add your own charts. Click on this add new charts and decide what you want to analyze, make use of these other features that is available to analyze the different things that you want. Okay. So you can also change the different chart display. Let's say instead of a stack bar, you can change the bar chart. You can go to the option here to change it. So like what we have done, go to the different collections to add to your collection, and then and search from there. Okay, so here. Okay, this is just some information. If you know of somebody with the ORCID ID, you can also search by that and then to see what are the patents associated with the ID. That's another option. Okay, I just did a very quick run through for this lens database. We have the screenshots. It's up to you to go and explore on your own. What we know that is this database is free for, let's say, institutions like NUS for staff and students, but they also make it available for those with who needs to access this on a commercial basis, and it's quite reasonable priced. You might like to take a look at their website and look at the pricing information as well. Okay, we look at PetSnap. Okay, and this is another patent database. As you know, that PetSnap is actually a NUS startup, and has grown to a unicorn already. And then of course we are very proud to have it as part of our subscription. Pets, we only subscribe to actually two of their add-on products, PetSnap Analytics and PetSnap Insights. Okay, because and you can access PetSnap using again, you must go through our library page to say login. Go to our library main page under database as usual, any database you want to access, and then from here type in PetSnap. Again, we can go to the resource site and then you log in. Because I have created an account earlier. PetSnap is a subscribed database, so unfortunately, it's only available to NUS staff and students. Yeah. Okay, this is the landing page of PetSnap, where you can always come back to the landing page and use the side menu bar if you want to choose the various options here. And then this is the standard search box you can make use of. Again, assume that I have a particular patent document that I want to search, and I can make use of this search here. And then I just copy the number and I go into PetSnap. Okay, looks like I forgot here. Okay, where is my PetSnap database? Okay. Okay. This is the record. Okay, here this is the first page where you have the abstract, a patent, and then they also give you the estimated expiry date as well as classification. The standard one that is similar to what you saw in lens. Okay, and then of course if you search PetSnap does has a sort of like a translation feature, uh, machine translation kind of thing, for any patent documents that appear in foreign language. Say, for example, if you see a patent that said in this case is a Japanese patent and you're not familiar with the language, you can use PetSnap to do a machine translation. Okay, this one doesn't quite have any details. Okay, and here there's an option to translate into English. Okay, this is the machine translation of the document. Okay, and then one or two other features like the highlight that PetSnap did come up with a new search feature like application domain, which is described in the here in the information icon, that is helps you to say do a search easily. Say if for example you want to search for this area, you can just click to find other patents that have the similar kind of technology domain or application, uh, technology topic or application domain. So this is one way for you to actually expand your search from just one single document, and then you can easily review them, mark those records that you want, and then of course you can export them, or here there's a function to say save it to a workspace. Workspace is like a folder that you can keep for all your top relevant information. Then at the end you can do analysis based on your this kind of topic that you have, different folders for different things. Okay, so okay, besides that Pesta has also, you can look at the claims quickly at the independent claims. You can click on this other option. And then also same thing, you have the patent citation as well as non-patent literature that you can look at. The citation will also include a citation map that you can also view the backward and forward citation, as well as similar patents that you can find other patents that you can search to look for other patents, or you can save it to a folder as well. So citation also you can from there do a search again on all these patents, cited patents. So these are the very quick ways for a single document. So I'm going to just quickly touch on a topic search. Okay, it's all covered. Can look at it. Oh, before I forget, semantic search. Okay, PetSnap has this semantic search that might be useful because this option allows you to search using just a patent number or a paragraph of text. Say here, go back to the main page where you have the landing page. There's a semantic option. Here, they use a machine learning AI intelligence kind of thing to based on your document that you have listed, or even the paragraph of text that you are interested to give the technical details or abstract of a journal article. You can go in and do a search, and then they will try to extract information that other patents that might be useful, and you can find these other patents. So this is another quick way to zoom in to look for relevant information. Okay, so topic search here, similar to the lens database. The only difference is PetSnap use the what they call a stemming feature or function, rather. Like they automatically search for the root word. For example, you want to search for the word package. they also identify other terms like packages, packaging, to actually automatically search for you. So you don't have to think of the wildcard asterisk to when you do your searching. So what you can do is here, let me go back to my pet step. Okay, under this gear button, depends on whether you want to do a stemming feature, switch it on or switch it off. So if you leave it on, then you don't need to use the wildcard features. Okay, so I'm going to leave it as that. So I can search here this topic. Okay, before we continue again, I'm going to show you the results also. So in same way as lens, there's also a difference in how when each field you search, there's the result may differ. So I'm going to search again using this. Okay, I can put in the search terms here. Okay, or if not, I can also specify under field option, select the fields that I want to search. Let's say I want these words to appear in the title, abstract claims. I can enter this search in this fields. So now I got 9,000 over family records. You can see the details. And then, okay, you can sort the results by relevance, by latest first, depends on your needs. And then here on the left hand side, you can also do different filters that you necessary, or even add in new terms that, for example, you want, say on sensor. And then from there you can okay, let's assume that you're happy with the results and you want to start doing analyze the results. So there are three options to analyze the results: custom analysis, as mentioned before, landscape map, and pet snap insights. Custom analysis is a very quick way to just quickly look at the results and then look at the details, like you want to identify top assignee, who are the top assignees, who are the companies involved, or companies or people that owns the patents that uh, who are active in this field. That's one way to look at things. And then, of course, you can click on the line to view the details of the patents. And then, of course, you can also look at where are these patents filed, which countries. Okay, mini. Okay, this is a graph display. You can change the display format to change to, say, instead of a world map, you can change to a particular option if you want. Okay, you can do this here, and then you can view other details as well. Okay. Another way is you want to look at based on this topic, based on using landscape maps, which you can give more details explanation about how landscape maps can be used for different tasks. So basically is you want to look at the overall map to see whether is there any section of the map that is very high, has high volume of patent activities compared to certain other areas. So from there, there may be some things that you can, it may review some things for you. Okay, go back to here, analyze the landscape map. Of course, the more records you have, then the longer it takes to generate the map. say I just accept the default setting. And then here is the map, which I can click and then move the map around. And as you know, these are the two areas that has a lot more patent activity. You can use select grid if you want to zoom into a particular section to view the details, as well as you can create another landscape map based on this section of the map. That's in one way to look at it. And then here also there are drop down menu where you can really look at the details using different options. Say you still look at the assignee, you want to look at companies that are active, select the different options to see how the particular company their patents are actually distributed across the map. Okay, sometimes you will see that some companies, they are concentrated in one level, one section of the map. Sometimes it's spread out. Sometimes you will see like certain trends like that may be useful. You can take a look, and then you can also create animation of the map based on certain dates that you have, and then you can generate a map so that you can see the trend analysis over time. That is another option that you have. Okay, let me see. I lost my screenshots. So let me go back to my screen. You can go back to your search history to view your details. Okay. So this is the animation for the set results based on the date. So sometimes you will notice that certain part of the map is like, oh, suddenly there's a big jump in the patent activity, that you might want to focus on that section of the map and take a closer look at it. Okay. Okay. So the last part is another option that we have a subscription is PetSnap Insights. These are standard charts that PetSnap produce. Depends on the type of reports that you want to generate, because could be a technology report, could be a company report that you want to generate. You can always use the left-hand side to see, click on it to generate the reports, or even you can, based on your workspace that you have, you can also generate such reports using the records that you have actually parked in your workspace. You can do that as well. Okay, let's do Insight, create a report. Okay, these are the, just an overview. And you can zoom into the specific areas, say innovation profile. Here is the title, and there's also a description of what this chart is useful for. For example, in this case, you might like to see the trend prediction for this topic to see if there is an increasing trend or decreasing trend, that sort of thing. And then there are also other reports that you can take a look, whether it's what is the key patents, the most cited patents is useful to take a look, as well as most valuable patents, and also using the innovation word cloud, which allows you to sort of zoom in to specific areas of interest. Say a specific area, then you appear on the left right hand side and you can view the details. So this is just a very quick run through of possibilities that you can make use of in PetSnap. Okay. So these are just some features that we highlighted. You can explore on your own. We also have other database that NUS Library subscribe that contains patent information. Like for example, chemistry, you could have a SciFinder and information, and then also there are also free databases that is available besides Lens. You of course you can use Google Patents, Patent Scope, and XPathNet from EPA, European Patent EPO rather office to actually search. So you can go to our guide to take a look. And we also have a guide for specifically on PetSnap if you are interested to want to explore this. And then here is just some quick tips on searching. Say maybe it'd be helpful when you plan your search is to ask yourself what are you looking for? What is it made of? How does this work? And come up with keywords and technical concepts to describe your invention. Because do bear in mind that patent documents are not just technical information. It also legal information. So sometimes the way you describe the words that describe the concept may be quite different from what you normally use. So you do have to try to explore and take note of it. And then here is some other additional information that may be helpful for you. And then make use of workspace that we have in PetSnap or in the Lens database like Core Collection. Save all these relevant results into your workspace, and from there you analyze this the results that you have accumulated. So this might be a better way than just to do a search, so that it'll be helpful. Also set up any alerts that you might be useful for you to actually keep track of what's happening. Okay. So these are additional bonus pack that I will just quickly go through, but I mean for you to go through on your own. I will not cover it today. So at the end, this is almost the end of our session. We'd like you to give us feedback about this session. And in the meantime, if you have any questions you may want to ask us or put in the chat as well. I will just leave this screen on for a bit so that you know for you to actually take a look. So it's